Good evening, everyone. My name is Leanne from Of Love and Shiplap and the founder of Sub That Sublimation Graphics and Tutorials here on Facebook. If you're joining us on YouTube, please be sure to come join our Facebook group. That link is in the video description and available at the end of this video. And of course, if you're catching us live on Facebook, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find all of our videos after they are live in our neatly organized playlists. Tonight, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a canvas wall hanging using Sub That Sublimation Canvas. Now, if you're not familiar with Sub That Sublimation Canvas, this is the signature product of our group, and it is available on my website, www.ofloveandshiplap.us. This is a premium art grade canvas that has an 11-ounce fabric weight. It is non-fray and it is UV coated. It's only sublimatable on one side. And you know, all the instructions are included with it. It's pretty easy to use, and I'm gonna go over just some of the things you'll notice, like the atmospheric moisture being released, which causes some curling, and how to mitigate those and create your perfect product. Now, because Sub That Sublimation Canvas is a premium art grade canvas, it is not the same denier that you see from other companies, which is more like the material that's used for awnings and hiking boots and backpacks and things of that nature. Denier subs beautifully. I have nothing against it. I use it for things as well. It's just not the same as what Sub That Sublimation Canvas is, which is designed to allow you and your business to produce high quality photo prints. Gallery wrap photos, reverse canvases, canvas wall hangs, like I'm going to show you guys, nightlight canvases, and any number of other items for home decor, which you can utilize by giving your customers a high quality printed item. One of the things that I like about this canvas is that the results are great. And like I mentioned, it is non-fray and UV coated, so it's great for outdoors. In a previous canvas wall hanging video, I actually did make one for my front door for the fall. And that one has been through 2 falls and 3 hurricanes, and it is still holding up great. So today we're going to be making one that's relevant for Easter. I'm going to be sending it up to my mom, and I'm sure that she is going to love it. But this is just one idea of something that you can do with this, and you can actually use a lot of garden flag designs for canvas wall hangings, or you can create something simple. I'll actually show you a simple one that I did make so that you can kind of reference that as well. So just to give you some ideas of different things that you can do with this, they're very easy to make. It requires just a couple of supplies, which I'm going to show you. And the cost to make a 12 by 18 canvas wall hanging is roughly $8, but you can sell them for $35 or even $40 with free shipping. I find them really easy to ship. All I do is roll them up and wrap them with some bubble wrap and stick them in a poly mailer. And it's that simple. I know it seems like so simple, but it really is that simple because you're using solid wood. There's really minimal chance that they're going to break in transit, so there's no reason to put them in boxes that cost more to ship. And I can usually ship mine for about $5 or $6. So really versatile product, great for, generic wall decor as an accent piece, or maybe part of a gallery wall in a nursery, outdoor hangings, any number of ideas that you can use this for. So let me go ahead and turn you guys around and I'll show you what we're working with. So here's a look at what we're going to need today. If you've seen my previous canvas wall hanging video, this is what I'm considering an updated tutorial on how to do this that I think will be a little bit easier and give you guys better results. So first we have our transfer. I printed this with my Workforce 7710 using Printer Jack ink on Printer Jack paper. We have a sheet of 12 by 18 Sub That Sublimation Canvas. This is sold in rolls of 10. You'll find that link in our video description, as well as the link for the wood that so many of you ask about and the clamps that are in the background. So these are just these are like $2 at Harbor Freight Tools, but they actually work perfectly for this. So once I discovered them, I bought about 10 of them. I have sized my transfer to be, it's sized to be 12 inches wide, and then I actually just dragged it a little bit to be 18 3/4 inches. So I increased the height just a hair because I want to make sure I get a nice full coverage when we press this. And when we push that moisture out, we're going to experience a little bit of shrinkage in our canvas. I will talk about that in just a minute. And then we're also going to want your choice of adhesive options. So I do find that I like using a glue gun just for a little added security. I prefer wood glue, but you can also use E6000, which I have there. And then our staple gun, string, scissors. This wood, it comes in a 3-foot or 4-foot piece, depending on what's available where you are. I cut this into 12-inch segments. You can, of course, cut it into any size that you want. Even if you don't have power tools, cutting this is really easy. Most hardware stores actually have a miter box set up for trim that has a couple of different saws. You want to choose one that's fine tooth, and you just, measure it out and you can cut it right there, which is great. Or you can bring it home and cut it. And you can get yourself, if you don't want to operate a miter saw, you can simply get a miter box, which I don't have one, but it's basically a plastic box that's about this big, and it has different slots in it that you would stick the wood inside, and then you run your saw in that, your hand saw in that slot to give you a straight cut, an angled cut, whatever it is that you need. So a miter box and a good fine tooth saw is less than $20. So a really small investment for what you're going to be working with. As I mentioned, our all-in cost for our canvas, our whole project here, is about $8, maybe $9 in some areas, just because of the cost of the wood might be different. But you can sell these for a minimum of $35 or $40 with free shipping. So let's go ahead and hop on over to our heat press. We have this set at 400 degrees. Let me try and straighten you guys out here. There we go. We're going to start by pre-pressing our canvas. Now, a couple of things about Sub That Sublimation Canvas. This is written in the instructions, but I think a lot of people don't read, so I will make sure to cover them. First, because this is still canvas, it's still a fabric fiber, it's constantly absorbing moisture from the atmosphere. This means that when we pre-press it, just like when we do a shirt, we're going to experience some shrinkage. Because of the tight water-resistant weave of Sub That canvas, we're also going to notice some curling. It's a bit more noticeable when you use smaller pieces, but I just want to make sure I address that. One of the easiest ways to help minimize the curling so that you can still work easily with your piece of canvas is to press it upside down. So it's a little hard to tell in the video, but you'll notice that the right side is going to be less white. See, this is the back. It looks brighter. This also has a distinct woven texture and a little bit of a shimmer. The back does not. Only one side of Sub That canvas is sublimatable. So we're going to go ahead and pre-press this for about 30 seconds is honestly pretty adequate. I mean, even down here in the South, I rarely use more than 30 seconds. So I'm using my 16x20 heat press from acesdeals.net. This is just about $300. It's nothing fancy. It's a 16x20 and works very well for what I use it for. I've had it about a year and I'm definitely very happy with it. All right, so I'm just about ready to open here. Now you notice you can't see the steam, but there is a little bit of curling happening, but it does seem to go a little better if you press it face down for your pre-press. So it's going to feel relatively pliable when you pull it off the press. We're going to go ahead and line this up on top of our transfer. Now I made sure that my transfer was a little bit bigger because I wanted to make sure that this went edge to edge. to get that beautiful full coverage that's going to be most appealing to customers in general. Now it's a little difficult for you guys to see because there's no good lighting for you guys to be able to see it, but I can see the design just a little bit through the canvas, enough that I can make sure this is relatively centered. So I'm going to come down just a little bit. Oops. Okay. To be honest, you're probably not going to get it absolutely perfect, but that's okay. So I'm just going to add a little piece of tape at the bottom, and you can add them on the sides if you want. Just make sure if you add them at the sides, you don't hinder the canvas laying flat. Okay. Now we're going to go back over to our heat press. Because our transfer is larger than our canvas is, because again, we wanted that full bleed edge, we're going to make sure to put a piece of protective paper down. Now I'm just using painter's masking paper. You can see it's relatively thin. I do really like this. It's very affordable. I think you can get like a huge roll of it at the hardware store for a couple of dollars. So we're going to make sure to press this with the canvas face up and our transfer face down, just like we do with pretty much all fabric substrates. We're using medium firm pressure, and we are going to cover this just in case any ink gasses out the back, because we don't want it to get on our press and get on our future items. We're going to be pressing this for 60 seconds at 400 degrees with medium firm pressure. Now, a canvas wall hanging is a really great home decor item that you can sell all year round. I put out a lot of designs that work for this. Some even just as simple as some of my holiday themed wreaths are perfect with this if you just add a background. One of the reasons I leave the backgrounds off of stuff like that is so that you have the versatility to choose that. I did stain my oak pieces with the Rust-Oleum or Varathane stain. I like the ones that say dries in 1 hour. These ones, they dry in 1 hour. They give amazing one coat coverage. I don't recommend the ones that advertise having polyurethane built in, because they're very sticky and it's hard to get even coverage. And then the classic stains, like the original Minwax and stuff that you might be familiar with, those typically require multiple coats. So I only use Rust-Oleum and Varathane. They have tons of great colors. They're the same company. But they have tons of great colors to choose from and gives you so much versatility, great stain, and a lot faster. So we'll go ahead and pull off our transfer. All right, so let me take that off the press real quick. All right. You can see we got really awesome, oops, sorry guys, that we got really awesome ink transfer here. This looks amazing. I love Sub That Canvas because it does transfer really vibrant. And because this is professional grade canvas, I mean, people are getting something that's equivalent to something they might have bought in the store. So I'm going to turn this sideways because it's going to make it a little bit easier for us. And actually, kind of need to move you guys over because the hot glue gun is very short. All right. So we're going to start by putting, I didn't stain the back of these, by the way. I don't think that's necessary when you're doing whatever. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to give this a rough placement, and then we're just going to mark on either end so we can make sure the bottom piece is lined up accordingly. This will save you a lot of headaches. Now, you don't need a lot sandwiched in between. You really only need about 1/4 of an inch. So keep that in mind when you're sizing your designs and your measurements. Now, I want to make sure that we get this as straight as possible. So I have a cutting mat on my desk, as you can see. I'm gonna line this up with the little line, the dotted line, the dotted line that's here. And then I'm just going to line up my wood with the mark for the 8. And then we'll just go ahead and, okay. So I put a little pen mark there so that I can easily place my bottom piece. I'm gonna use this piece for my bottom one just because it looked a little, it didn't look as good. Or my back one, I should say. Okay. We're gonna add a little bit of hot glue just to kind of secure this. Let me get this better on the camera for you guys. I like to start with the ends because I already have that little line marked. And you don't need a lot. You just need enough to secure this in place so that we can, and we'll put one in the middle. All right, so again, we're just trying to secure this in place just so we can get to the next step. Now, the next step is going to be, try and get you guys a better angle. We're gonna apply our choice of adhesive here. Also make sure that your canvas is centered with the edges of your board. Now again, I said you can use E6000. I hate E6000 because it's so sticky. So my go-to is to use wood glue. I really like Titebond wood glue. We don't really need some crazy amount. And this one also dries fast. When I say dried fast, I mean that I glued it shut. So there we go. Luckily it peels right off. Maybe. Always make sure you close your wood glue, guys. There we go. Wood glue does peel right off. I just used some scissors to peel it off the camera. All right. So you want to get a decent amount on there. Get close to those edges of the canvas. You don't want to do too much that's going to like ooze out everywhere though. So just keep the tip on there and you'll be good. And then we'll go ahead and apply our top piece. Now we're going to go ahead and clamp this so that it will be able to dry appropriately. So you want to make sure you just very carefully pick it up and apply a clamp. I'm gonna do the clamps more in the center so that we can apply our string and it not be impacted by the clamps. Okay. So one side done, or one end done. Kind of give you an idea of how it's looking. Now we'll go ahead and do the other end. Now we're gonna repeat the same process. So make sure you guys can see this. I will put this on the line for the 7. This is a cutting mat if you guys didn't realize that. I'm going to slide this up underneath. So this is on the line for the, there's a little dotted line here. That's what I'm lining it up with. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys couldn't see that as well. Let me turn you guys down just a hair. There we go. Okay. So make sure our canvas is lined up, our wood is lined up. And then again, we're gonna go ahead and add those two little pen marks just to give us a good guide. And we will slide our wood underneath there. And we're gonna take our glue gun. And once again, we'll just kind of add a little bit, make sure that's lined up, secure the corner. Sorry, this end is not quite lined up. There we go. And we'll add just another piece in the middle, a little bit of glue there. Again, you don't need a lot. This is just to secure it while we get everything ready to do the clamps. Okay. Now, once again, oh shoot. Sorry, I didn't make sure it was centered. That was my bad. Let's try that one more time. Always make sure that your canvas is centered on your wood. It's only, you know, about 1/8 of an inch, but you definitely still want to make sure that it is centered accordingly. And I'm going to add glue one more time. Ouch. Hot glue is hot. All right. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and add our wood glue one more time on this end. Again, you want to get it close enough to those canvas edges, but don't add so much that it's going to impact your final product and ooze out. We will line up our wood accordingly. And then go ahead, make sure we've got them pinched down and together, hold it up, and clamp it. Okay. Now the last thing that we need to do is add our string so that this can hang. So we'll just go right ahead and flip this over. And I like to do about 6 inch or about half of, so what you want to do is take the total length of your wood and then add half the length to that length. So this is 12 inches, half of that would be 6. We're going to make our string 18 inches long. I'm going to measure this on the ruler that's right underneath here. And this is just basic jute cord baling twine. It costs almost nothing to use this. However, we need to rotate this because once again, the hot glue gun is on the side. So I like to use the hot glue gun to reinforce this nice and easily. So just make sure that you've got this placed somewhere, you know, 1/2 inch or so in. You can just add some glue there. This is a super cheap, budget-friendly glue gun, just so you guys know. It's nothing fancy here. But we want it just for the purpose of securing that. And thankfully it dries quickly. And we'll go ahead and repeat that on the other end. Okay, same thing. We're gonna let that dry just a second. Hot glue dries very quickly. And then we're gonna reinforce it with our staple gun. So in my past video, I actually showed you just stapling the pieces together, but I found that this method works a little bit better, and it's also a little faster, quite honestly. So we'll reinforce our string. Let me make sure you guys got a good angle to see this. And we're just gonna go ahead and use our staple gun. We're gonna hold it flat. And we're gonna do it at the top and bottom. I didn't get it quite as flat as it could be. Do the other side as well. You can also do this after it dries, quite honestly. It might actually be better to do it after it dries, but I wanted to make sure I showed it to you guys in the demo. If you have one that's raised up like that, you can just hammer it down, which I'm not gonna do because I don't have my hammer with me. So, all right, so now this is ready to dry. And it'll be ready in about 30 minutes. So let me Let me give you guys a better view. All right, so this will be done in about 30 minutes. The wood will be dry. I really like the Titebond glue because it does dry quickly. And then to ship this, it's as simple as rolling it up and wrapping it with some bubble wrap. So here's one that I made for my own house. Not as glamorous, but I like literature. So when I ship this, I just roll this up like this. Wrap some, put a rubber band on it, wrap some bubble wrap around it, and then put it in a poly mailer. This will flatten out on its own just from hanging. If you've seen my reverse canvas video, I did show you how to put a damp cloth on the back and just lightly heat press it for, a few rounds of 10 seconds to reintroduce moisture into the canvas. That's ideal for something like reverse canvas, or gallery wrap canvas, because you do need to make sure that it's moisturized so that it doesn't loosen up after you've already configured it. But with something like a canvas wall hanging, that's not necessary. Any of the little, I just made this morning, but that little curl that you might see on the edge, that's gonna flatten out with probably by the time this gets to your customer. And even though it'll have a little bit of a crinkle from being shipped, that's gonna flatten out with it hanging there. So you can just reassure your customers that it'll absorb moisture and flatten out on its own, and it's nothing to be alarmed about. So there's kind of an up close of this. And I think I can maybe hang this so you guys can get a better view. There we go. So these are great for all types of home decor. It's a really affordable project to make, and it's high profiting. And even, when the economy goes up and down, people are still looking for something like this. And you can do wedding vows with pictures in the background. You can do literature like this. You can do some of the amazing designs that I offer out of Love and Shiplap. This particular design is a design membership exclusive, so you would need to have that to access this one. But just to give you guys an idea of the great number of possibilities for canvas wall hangings. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. And as always, thank you for joining us and being part of Sub That.